Your one-stop shop for the information you need to fight back. If you're going to have to learn stuff, you might as well enjoy it. The Dana Show.
DanaLash.com. And as we've been discussing, this case, the Baldwin case, with the Rust film set shooting, and there's been another development in this. Yesterday, I was talking to my friend Adam Baldwin, you know him from Firefly and Full Metal Jacket, NBC's Last Ship. And he brought up the question as to whether or not COVID protocol contributed to how weapons were handled on set, whether it altered their standard operating procedure for how production handled weaponry. And apparently, according to Deadline Hollywood, that might be the case. At least one of the documents that they published, they were talking about the rolling card and how things were changed a little bit. In terms of who could be on set, when, and all of that. There's a lot of complexities in this, and we wanted to talk to an actual legal expert who knows a lot more about the legalities of this than we do, because, we watch just Law and Order and we'll pretend to be an attorney. See, that's how it goes. My friend Andrew Branca, he's so generous with his time, and Adam, actually I had him in my mind before, and Adam suggested him. I'm like, that would be perfect. He is an attorney. He specializes in self-defense. He's already written over at the lawofselfdefense.com. He's given some of his analysis about this, saying that the Baldwin situation is beginning to look a lot like manslaughter. And he joins us now via Skype. Andrew, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Dana. It's been a while since we talked last. I think before we had President Trump. Let's not wait until we have President DeSantis before we have a chance to get together again.
I agree. I definitely second that. So tell me about this case, because the more details that we're learning about it continue. I mean, I don't think really much can get worse from a family losing their mother, and of course, the director being injured. Not to diminish that at all, but as the details come out, it really looks like there was a lot of recklessness that was on this set. And from what I understand, a lot of it comes, this is kind of top down. Who is in charge of the film set, the producers, the production, who's heading that up. They sort of set the tone and the level of responsibility. We learned that there were 2 apparently misfires, before in the weeks leading up to this, that the union crew had walked out because they were complaining repeatedly about safety issues on this set. I know that they had to bring in an armorer, which I feel it's unfair to place the entirety of the blame on that young woman. And I'll talk to you about that as well. But from everything that we've seen, and I'm agreeing with you, I would be kind of shocked right now if there weren't any charges brought against Baldwin in this. What is your take from everything that's publicly available now?
Well, in term of Alec Baldwin's criminal liability here for this shooting, it's not even really a close call. It's a pretty open and shut case of involuntary manslaughter. He was handling an inherently dangerous instrument, a firearm, that has well-established rules for its safe use. He violated those rules, pointed the gun at a woman, pressed the trigger, killed her, without bothering to take the moment it would have taken to make sure that the weapon was clear first. And under New Mexico law, but really under the law of just about any state, that's a blanket act of involuntary manslaughter. And I know people are obfuscating a lot around these events, and there were other factors that, if they had gone right, might have prevented this. If we had perhaps a better armorer or better safety, or there were steps before Alec got the gun, that might have prevented this. But there's only one person who absolutely, with certainty, could have prevented this. And that's Alec Baldwin. When he had that gun in his hand, before he pointed it at the woman and pressed the trigger, he could have taken a moment to check to make sure there was not live ammo in that gun. And to me, that's the decisive factor, because it doesn't matter what else happened before. If he had checked the gun, the woman would be alive.